My favourite design of Spider-Man is the early days kind of 15-year-old Peter Parker. And although I've been buying Spider-Man again and again and again and again and again, with 2 more on the way, this one is probably going to be my definitive one. When you don't have some annoying rat in your ear who's probably 9 years old telling you that the figure's head is too big, you actually realise when you were 15, if you were 15, because the people complaining about this aren't even 15. Apologies. When I was 15, my head was a little big. And I mean, I haven't even really grown out of that. I still look like a Funko Pop. But I genuinely think the execution on the look of this figure is almost perfect. Almost. The spandex used is really good, really durable. I've quite aggressively posed this guy. I've had a really nice time and done everything that I've wanted to, given the limitations. I like the fact that the web lines have been painted over the top instead of using a wash. There's a few mishaps on the figure in some places, but I don't really care that much. I've seen a few people complain about the back stitching, but the main reason that I've taken a while to make this review is I wanted to not just do an unboxing. So this is a bit more of a buyer's guide to this is what it's like after about a month of having the figure. And obviously talking about that, that's to do with the vinyl over the figure. But I'll get to that a bit more in detail in a little bit. But I think it's always best to start off with the accessories of the figure. Spider-Man comes with a total of 5 heads. He gets one with the kind of Amazing Fantasy 15-esque squinty eyes, some open eyes, a light-up head, which is quite cool. You get a little switch thing to do that. Unfortunately, the way that the light works, it kind of illuminates the whole forehead. And I've tried to use it in a darker setting so the lights kind of stand out more. It just illuminates the whole front of the head. It doesn't end up looking that great. But it's also nice to have an even wider option. So you have really small eyes, medium, full size. So it's cool to get that gradient. You also get a split head for the spider sense, which is sick. I love the way this head looks. I think the glasses look nicer on this than on the next head. And on that next head, you have the fully unmasked Peter Parker head. I don't like this head that much. It doesn't scream Peter Parker to me. I don't know what it is. He gets glasses, but because these are removable glasses, they're quite big. They're not actually very big. They're tiny. You can lose them very easily. But on the head, they're quite big. And to go along with that spider sense head that I talked about, you get a attachment for the stand, which then plugs into a clear spider sense effect, which is awesome. I love that. I do kind of wish that they used magnets. They've used magnets before, like with Susan Storm. I just kind of wish that they did that so that you don't have to have this massive armature around the head and then it will always be close to the back of the head. Spider-Man gets a total of 9 pairs of hands, including the fists that come on in the package, some gripping hands for his mask, some kind of open, relaxed hands. I also use them for diving poses. You get 2 kind of open, flayed out wall crawling hands. You get 2 sets of hands using the camera. You get 2 webline holding hands. You should get 2 kind of more open, relaxed hands. The right side, they gave me another thwipping hand. Don't know why. You get 2 other thwipping hands, so I've got a total of 3 thwipping hands, great. And you get a thumbs up and a pointing finger. Unfortunately, they're for the same hand. I kind of wish they were for alternate hands, or you got 2 thumbs up, 2 pointing. I don't like it when a figure has to use 1 hand for both. Now, as mentioned, he comes with a camera, which is really cool. You get 2 straps, 1 to go around the neck, 1 to have it when he's holding it. I prefer just to not use the straps, they get in the way. But the camera is really nicely detailed. You also get this little device. I would be lying if I told you what it is. I have no idea. But it's nicely detailed for whatever it is. He comes with a newspaper, which is awesome. I thought it was an openable one, so I almost ripped it open. Don't do that. But it's really well printed. He obviously gets his stand and a removed mask, which is really cool, as shown to use with those hands. And the rest of his accessories are all web-based. A web backpack, which is really nice. All the webs have this really nice sheen to them, so they look quite silky, which I really like. He gets this ridiculous parachute. I know it's 60s comics. I did actually use the bottom part of the chute for a slingshot pose, which I thought was quite creative and fun. He also gets a web shield. The shield just slots over his arm, which does look quite cool. Then you get a thwipping one that's got a loop around the end of it, so you can put it around someone's neck. I would have rather this been a web line, so you can kind of pull the web line with someone's head through it, but unfortunately it's one with a ring around it for a thwip. You get 1 thwip effect and 1 web line. I do wish, even maybe not 2 web lines, but at least 2 thwips, so you can have... You also have this bendy wire web, which is really cool. I didn't know what it was for, but my friend got the figure in and he just wrapped up his figures with it, which is really cool. And I almost forgot this, but you get 6 spider bots, which is really cool. I also forgot to mention that he comes with this rubber Spider-Man mat, which does stick to glass, which is very cool. And also a web effect that goes around people's heads. Looks awesome. For articulation, Spider-Man performs really well. He's got double jointed legs, double jointed arms. His shoulders are pretty unrestricted. Obviously, you've got that vinyl there, so you need to be careful how you move around the figure. That's going to be your main restriction, not the actual joint. His torso is really free moving. It's really nice to pose around. He gets a good crunch and arc back. You get a boot swivel, and the foot movement is pretty decent for a Mezco. I mean, you do struggle to get his feet down in some poses, and obviously with a character like Spider-Man, you kind of wish he had toe tilt, so you can do those kind of crouching poses, because he does have the movement to get into those poses. You just can't do it with the feet. I've taken a few pictures where it looks like he can. It's just a little bit annoying because he looks a bit more like a ballerina. One thing I wouldn't normally mention though is the wrists. They have got really good range. He gets full range with his hands, so he can do handstand. It's great. And the head's got really good range. He can look up really high. He's got nice tilts. But whilst we're here, I just want to mention the right leg on my figure and his heads have become extremely loose over time. I can just flick up the right leg and sometimes it goes back down due to the fabric. That's how weak it's got now. But a lot of the time you just force it back up there and it's fine. It's not super egregious, it's just something I've made a note of. Now, as I just talked about the longevity of certain other parts, I want to just talk about the vinyl for a second. So yes, the moment you get this figure, it's going to crease. You take him out of that neutral stance, he's going to crease. I've done everything I've wanted to do with the figure, accepting his limitations with joints and tolerances and all of that. And actually out of the box, he came with a small little mark on the right of his shoulder. And I think that kind of allowed me to get in the headspace of I don't really care if it creases or not. The only kind of big mark I've seen is next to that mark on his right shoulder. It's a little bit more than a crease. It seems to have got a different color under certain lighting. And that's just because I have the shoulders up all the time, and that's exactly where that crease is. So I'd imagine maybe it could rip over time. If it does end up doing that, battle damage. It's personally something I'm not very upset with, but I just want to tell you guys and then you can make your decision whether you care or not. Because it is a high priced item, and I know before I've said things about quality and control, and I've been really impressed with the base figure, so I'm not struggling as much to justify the price as I have done with other figures. Now this guy scales really nicely. Obviously he's a bit of a younger Peter Parker, but he's still quite big because he's a Mezco, so if you put him with the likes of Mafex and stuff, he'll be a similar height. He fits in nicely with the Fantastic Four, fits in really nicely with Doctor Doom, fits really nicely with their Green Goblin. I'll get to that figure soon, he's interesting. As I said in the intro, this is my definitive Peter Parker. He is my favourite one. He is the one I pick up the most, even though he's not the most posable. I've got Spider-Man now from each of the companies that I value. So I've got an SHF one, a Rebel Tech, a Mafex, a Mezco. And obviously the Rebel Tech is for posability. If I really want to get those super intricate poses, I have a Rebel Tech. SHF, movie detail. If I want a movie figure, SHF. Mezco is just overall detail and look and aesthetic, and their posability has gotten even better, and that's kind of pushed out Mafex for me, because Mafex were always that blend between posability and looks, but Mezco have kind of pushed up their posability a bit, so they're head to head with Mafex on a lot of figures. But for value here, I think you do get quite a bit. £112 is what I think I paid for him, and it is quite steep, but I really think the figure is high quality. I think obviously you've got to account for the light feature, whether you want it there or not. The large volume of high quality and detailed accessories, the head sculpts are quite cool. The backpack, the newspaper, the web, everything in this adds to that price. And I would pay this again for this figure, 100%. I love it. My perfect Spider-Man. So for value, I'm going to give him a 9. For accessories, there's not really much I'm missing here. If anything, there's nothing that apart from extra webs, there's nothing that I'm like, oh, he should have come with this, he should have come with this. I really think this figure is perfect. For accessories, I'm going to give him a 10. And then for posability, I'm going to give him about a 7.5. It's a lot there. I just need drop down hips on the Spider-Man. I need toe tilt, and I need better tolerances on the legs and head. Overall, I do want to give him a 9. He's almost perfect to me. I do wish that the vinyl was similar to the old vinyl they used on the older Spider-Man, so it held up a bit better, but either way, I think he looks amazing. I love posing him, and I wanted to take the time off to kind of really make sure that it wasn't just straight out of the box, this is how I feel, really excited about him, and instead, this is how I've continued to feel for the last month. I keep picking him up, I keep messing around with him, even newer figures that I've gotten, I've picked him up instead and I'm playing around with him. When I did the Doctor Doom video, I think that's why I was so cynical with Doctor Doom, because I got this guy in and I was playing around with him whilst I was making the Doctor Doom video, and I was just really retroactively disappointed by Doctor Doom because of how good Spider-Man was. He's a great figure. If you can only get one Spider-Man, I would make it this one. I love Ditko Spider-Man. This is the perfect representation of that. I know a lot of people said that, oh, he looks so stupid. He looks like the comics. He looks like the comics. He looks like this. Okay, Next up will be Green Goblin. Then after that, Ninja Turtles. They should be coming in 2 months, hopefully. Anyway, see ya.